Okay, so next up we have a cable unboxing here, and I'm going to tell you guys what I think about them. These are the Vortex Nadia or Nadia cables. So these are from a Hong Kong company that was established relatively recently, I think in 2018, that makes IEM cables. So these ones retail for about $850 US, which is yeah, it's expensive, of course, for a cable, but when it comes to IEM cables these days, I mean, you can go into the thousands of dollars, which is just crazy, I know. And again, when it comes to cables, that's a very controversial topic. You know, a lot of people say the cables are all snake oil, you don't hear a difference between cables and stuff. It's all in your head. For me, I think this is just my personal opinion, you know, whether it be placebo or it's all in my head or whatever, the fact of the matter is that I think that depending on the IEM, and different IEMs can have different cable sensitivities. When I switch the cable, I do hear a difference. And this difference can depend on the cable, it can depend on the IEM, but I'm not going to say the difference is zero, at least not to me. So yeah, if you guys don't believe in cables, then go ahead and skip this part of the video, but yeah, or you can skip this video entirely. But I think that for me anyways, I do hear a difference. So this, yeah. If someone wants to tell me that's all in my head, fine. And I paid for making a psychological difference, I guess. Which is basically, to me, if it's just about the results, then yeah, if it makes a difference, then that's all that matters, right? Okay, that's my opinion. So I got these for 20% off. Still got paid like $650 for them, still a lot. So let's just take a look though. I'm gonna use them to compare to the stock Noble cables on the Kublai Khans. So these are the IEMs I'm gonna test them on. Of course, I just did a review of them. Yep, this is the Kublai Khans, and they come with these stock Noble cables, right? Which look okay, but of course, let's see if it improves, if we can upgrade it with the Vortex. So let's take a look here. This is what the box is like. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, looks pretty fancy. Embracing music since 2018. So yeah, Vortex. So yeah, these are the Nadias. And it comes with the Connex basic connector, which is actually Effect Audio, which is the Singapore company also making IEM cables. They came up with this Connex technology, which lets you swap out the different types of connectors for different types of headphones and IEMs. So that's pretty cool. And I think that Vortex actually worked with Effect Audio to get the same technology. So that's cool. Basically, they're using Effect Audio's Connex connectors here. I'd probably paid Effect Audio something to use that. But yeah, it's interesting, right? Because they're like competitors essentially, but yet they're using their competitors' technology. 4.4 millimeter connection, which is pretty standard for high-end IEMs these days. Yeah, I don't know anyone using 2.5 anymore. But yeah, this is the technology behind the cable here. So golden ratio in multi-strands with shielded twins, pair 20.6 AWG, and the cable material, which is really a lot of the differentiating factor of these cables come from the material, right? So you got gold silver alloy, gold plated 4N OCC silver, plus gold plated 7N OCC copper, plus 4N OCC silver, plus 7N OCC copper, plus silver plated 5N LC OFC copper. If that means anything to you guys. N that basically means the number of nines. So 4N OCC silver means like 99.99% silver. 7 gold plated 7N OCC copper means 99.99999 copper, percentage copper. I mean, it's just extremely high purity. So anyways, when people buy these kind of cables and spend a lot of money on them, a lot of them is based on the materials. So yep, those are the materials there. It's like just a combination of all different gold and silver, copper stuff. Okay, so this is a nice little presentation here. It says Vortex here. It's like, is this leather? It's pretty nice. So there's that. Just a little cover there. And here we go. This actually looks like an IEM case, even though it's just for cables. So yeah, and this is the cable right here, the Connex connectors. So let's take a look actually. This looks like a similar case you would normally get for high-end IEMs. But they give us this for cables, which, to be fair, these are not cheap cables, so it makes sense why they give us something like this. But yeah, it's a nice little. Is this real leather? Seems like it could be real leather, but yeah, it gives us a nice leather case here for the cables. Yeah, so yeah, I guess you would just put your cables in this case like that. So it's pretty nice. Okay, this is Effect Audio Connex, so I'll show you guys a bit more about this. So in my Effect Audio Chiron unboxing, you guys can see this as well. So Effect Audio, like I said, Singapore IEM cable company, and they're the ones that have come up with this technology. So yeah, you have different types of connectors that you can swap out. So depending on the type of headphone or the type of IEM that you have, then yeah, arguably you can just swap them in like this. So it makes it very easy instead of just having to buy an entirely new cable and having to get different connectors on them when you change headphones or IEMs, right? You can just use the Connex system, which is really nice. I think for the majority of IEM users, they'll be using 2-pin connections anyways, like 0.78 millimeters, right? Okay, so this is Vortex warranty card. It's got a serial number on it. Yeah, this is the warranty card. So yeah, it's nicely done warranty card there. Okay. Okay, and this is the cable itself. So yeah, the Nadia or Nadia, I'm not sure how to pronounce it exactly. They said it's inspired by the Japanese anime series. So yep, so okay, take a look here. I do like the colors. Yeah. How much AWG is this? Just gonna check. It is 20.6 AWG, so it's a good thickness. Yeah. 4.4 millimeter connection here. Yep. Well, this is a nicely looking connector. I mean, I know it's just a connector, but in a world of so many cables and stuff like that, this does kind of stand out, right? This little design here on the connector. And same thing when it comes to the Y splitter. I think the Y splitter is pretty nice looking too. Yeah, this is the Y splitter here. And yeah, so this, yeah, basically when you use your headphones, yeah, this will be the part that goes up and down. Yeah, so that's pretty nice looking Y splitter. It just has that Vortex logo there. Yeah. I think a bit nicer looking than my Astral Acoustics Pulse. And then these are the 2-pin connectors here. Oh, yeah, they'll tell you what's left and what's right. That's good. Not all cables tell you that, to be honest. Yeah, left to right. Yeah, so if we can zoom in more. Yep, here we go. So these are, this says the Vortex logo here. Yep, okay, cool. So yeah, I will be testing these and A-Bing these cables versus the stock cables on my Noble Kublai Khans, and yeah, I'll tell you guys my thoughts on them and the differences. So yeah, the stock cable and the Kublai Khans versus the Vortex Nadia, and yeah, I'll tell you guys the differences, so stay tuned. So yeah, I'll be testing these against the stock cables of my Noble Kublai Khans. Yeah, so these are stock cables, and which I'm guessing is copper. I actually didn't know the exact specs of the stock cable. I'll also be testing them against the Astral Acoustics Pulse cable that I got, which is definitely copper, as you guys can see. Yeah, these ones cost about 500, I would say, MSRP, and we'll compare them because I guess they're around the similar price range. This one's a few $100 more, but yeah, we'll compare those. And yeah, tell you guys what I think about them. So yeah, this is the Astral Acoustics, which I'm used to because I've owned these cables for a while now, and I'm pretty familiar with the sound signature. So we'll compare the new Vortex Nadia with the Astral Acoustics Pulse, and also I guess the stock cables of the Kublai Khan. Yeah, I know they're just cables, and you guys might think it's just a bunch of yeah, a bunch of baloney or hogwash that there's differences. But anyways, regardless, I'll give you guys my subjective impressions if you guys are interested anyways. Again, it's a very highly personal thing whether or not you'll hear a difference, but at least I'll give you guys my personal opinion about them. So yeah, this is going to be the new Vortex Nadia, and This has a bunch of different alloys in it, I think. Not just copper, but it has like gold-plated copper or silver-plated copper in it. And then the Astral Acoustics Pulse is just all copper. Yeah, very copper colored. And then this one, which I'm assuming is also copper as well. The stock cable of the Noble Kublai Khans. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. I'm going to compare all three of these cables, tell you guys, yeah, the differences. So stay tuned. Okay, so after testing all these cables, again, against the same songs, I think I have a verdict here. So the Noble audio cable, the stock one that comes with the Kublai Khans, again, it's a pretty good cable. I mean, you're talking about high-end IEMs. I don't think they're going to throw a bad cable in there or a cheap cable in there. Like, this is pretty good. Of course, you're going to hear the IEM the way, I guess, the manufacturer intended, because they bundled this cable with it, right? So it's, yeah, this is just my baseline, you know. Again, cables are not going to make too much of a difference, right? You're not talking about swapping IEMs or anything. Just, yeah, that's the thing. It's like when you're buying like cables, even expensive cables, don't expect to have like too much expectation going in, because it's not going to be like a world of difference or anything. In my opinion, they can help adjust the frequency somewhat, like they might raise or lower the treble response or bass response or whatever, depending on the type of material, but they're never going to adversely like completely change the sound of your IEM. That's never going to happen. I don't think, at least. They might expand the soundstage a little and stuff, but really don't expect anything too different. So I'm using this as a baseline, and yeah, I mean, I can't say, like, I don't have a crappy cable to test with, so I can't say how much this cable improves upon, you know, a basic cable, but I'm just going to say this is my baseline here, and of course it's a pretty decent cable. I mean, it has to be, right? Just, it comes bundled with a fairly, you know, like a $2,600 IEM, right? It's got to be, like, pretty decent. So this is my baseline. So comparing it against that, first of all, I'll give you my opinion on the Astral Acoustics Pulse here. So this one, first of all, Astral Acoustics, which is a Hong Kong IEM company, this is kind of their mid-range cable, I guess. They don't label their left and right connectors, so that's the thing. Like, come on. At least even Noble does, because Noble, you can kind of see they have blue and red here. Usually red is for right and blue is for left. This is something that comes from the speaker industry. But Astral doesn't label them at all, so I have no idea which one's left, which one's right. I kind of just have to look at the hooks in the way that they're shaped. So just kind of a constructive criticism for Astral. Like, come on, label your like connectors, man. Still takes me a while to find out which one's left and right. So do label them, please, like the Vortex does. That would be nice. But yeah, this being like a pure copper cable, the Astral Acoustics Pulse, what I noticed is that I think this might be just typical of what people think about copper cables, right? But it boosts the bass response a bit, warms up the sound signature a bit, and tames down the highs a bit. So because the Noble Khans are kind of like, or Kublai Khans, they're kind of a treble, I would say. These are more leans towards treble forward, I would say. Yeah, so these IEMs are the ones I'm testing, and the Kublai Khans leans treble forward. So because of that, I think the Astral Acoustics Pulse is a good pairing for them, because it tames the treble down a bit. Some people might find it a bit too treble forward, so it's not overly bright or anything, but again, it is kind of yeah, like it does boost the treble a bit. So that's why I think a copper cable like this might tame down the highs a bit, boost up the bass a bit, which I do think the Kublai Khans are a little bit too lean in the bass. So I do think this is a very good cable for just in terms of what it does to the sound signature for the Kublai Khans. Now, again, each cable is going to match differently, right? If you believe in that, I think that each cable is going to match each IEM differently. So I think the Astral Acoustics Pulse is a good match for the Kublai Khans, because the Kublai Khans being kind of a treble forward IEM, this one will tame the highs a bit and bring up the bass a bit, which I do think that the Kublai Khans kind of lack. So I think this is a good cable match for it. And in addition to that, you get better separation of the frequencies, which is something I notice when it comes to cable upgrades. Again, this is something you only can notice, for me, if I A/B test them back and forth, right? Not something that you normally would notice. But hey, this is the minute differences that most people probably don't believe in. It's the same thing for DACs. right? How do I notice a difference between different DAC chips? Well, I gotta A/B test them. I gotta like go back and forth, really analytically listen to them, right? If you don't do that, then it's just going to sound very, very similar, right? If you don't do that. So I'm talking about very marginal differences, obviously, but yeah, just A/B testing them. That's what I noticed. Yeah, the Astral Acoustics Pulse will make the bass, will boost it up and make the sound signature a little bit warmer, tame the highs down a bit. And I do think it's a really good fit for the Kublai Khans, because it does make it sound a bit more balanced than being treble forward, which is what they are out of the box. With the stock cable, yeah, they're definitely treble forward and a bit too lean in the bass, in my opinion. So to give the bass a little bit more body and to tame down the highs just a bit, I think the Astral Acoustics, or really any pure copper cable, I think will be able to be a good fit for that. So this is a good fit. Then let's compare to the Vortex Nadia. First of all, yes, props to Vortex for actually labeling left and right. Something I wish that Astral did. Yeah, labeling, that's great, like I mentioned. But yeah, let's talk about this one. I've heard in many reviews that the Vortex punches above its price point, which I think is kind of funny, because you're talking cables, right? Like, this is, when you're paying like hundreds of dollars for cables, I cannot say that any of them are going to punch above the price point, because it's very overpriced to begin with. But I would say, relatively speaking, yes, this performs like a $2,000 effect audio cable. It's like, compared to my like $2,000 effect audio Chirons, for example. That's a video I did a couple weeks ago. I think these are pretty much on par with that, even though these are only $800. So still expensive, but still I think it does perform on the same level of, say, like a $2,000 IEM cable, which is, I know it's ridiculous, but yeah, these days the cable prices get really crazy. Yeah, what I noticed with this one is that, first of all, compared to the Astral Acoustics Pulse, this is not really a pure copper cable. It's like a mix of different alloys, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it's like a mix of silver and gold-plated copper. Yeah, it's like a mix of different things. So it leans more towards like a neutral side. So it doesn't really go too warm or too bright or anything. It's fairly neutral, just like the Effect Audio Chiron was. And yeah, I would say the biggest difference I noticed with this one is that soundstage is a little bit more expanded, frequencies are more tightened up, and to my surprise, I actually think that it sounds a bit more detailed. Now, usually I don't think that cables would make such a big difference when it comes to detail, but it seems to me like there is a slight difference in detail here. Like, it's a little bit more resolving when I swap it out for the Nadias. So I don't know, again, maybe it's placebo, maybe it's all in my head, I don't know, but I wasn't even expecting that. Like, because for me, when I'm testing cables, I'm like, they can't really change the detail, right? Like, soundstage might be changed a bit, and frequency response, you know, they might tame the highs or up the highs, might be brighter or warmer, but I never really noticed any big difference in like detail change. That's the same thing in like even the $2,000 Effect Audio Chiron, I didn't really feel like that. But the Vortex Nadias, I mean, I actually think I feel a bit of a detail enhancement here, which is kind of crazy. So anyways, take that with a grain of salt. Maybe that's just, again, it's all in my head or something, but yeah, to me, this expands the soundstage just a little bit. The width of the soundstage expands just a little bit. The background is a little bit blacker, and frequency is a little bit more tightened up, and yeah, even the detail I can sense just a little bit more resolving. But that's just me, you know. I'm giving you guys my subjective listening impressions. You might be just saying that's all hogwash, you know, this is all scams, but that's just my impression. I'm giving you guys my subjective opinion, okay? Comparing all these back and forth. So yeah, that's it. That's my impressions of all these cables. I think that obviously the stock cable is still good, you know. I'm not gonna say like a stock cable from this level of IEM, a high-end IEM should come with pretty good stock cables, but if you're gonna upgrade, yeah, the Astral Acoustics Pulse I think is a very good fit for this kind of cable. I mean, this kind of IEM, right? When you have IEMs that are kind of like treble forward like this, then copper cables are pretty good. Now the opposite happens when your IEM is kind of bass forward. So if your IEM is bass heavy, then I would suggest silver cables to kind of brighten it up a bit, kind of tame the bass downs a bit and raises up the highs a bit. But in this case, these ones are kind of treble forward. So then in that case, yeah, the Astral Acoustics Pulse, being a pure copper cable, is a better fit for it. Vortex Nadia, tonal wise, is not as good of a fit as the Astral Acoustics, because these ones is a bit more neutral sounding. So these ones, again, I hear you're just going to get a treble forward again. It's not going to tame down the highs like the copper cables will, nor is it going to boost the bass like the copper cables will. But what you do get with this is expanded soundstage, blacker background, frequencies are more tightened up. So like you'll hear the bass be a bit more controlled, the highs be more controlled, be more doesn't bleed into the mids as much, and surprisingly even a little bit more detail. So that's what I found with the Nadias. Overall, it's a great cable, I think, for the price. If you want to, say, relatively speaking, I know it's still expensive, but I mean, if you're going to pay, like, people are paying like $2,000, $3,000 for IEM cables these days, right? It's crazy. So compared to those PW Audio, Effect Audio, Beat Audio ones that are insanely expensive, Breeze Audio, you know, those insanely expensive cable companies, yeah, I think the Vortex is a relatively better value, because I think this is pretty much on par with, in terms of soundstage and enhancing the sound of the IEM, pretty much on par with the Effect Audio Sharons, which are like $2,000. So yeah, for a relatively better price, I would think, of $800. Yeah, it's less than half the price of the Sharons. Yeah, and of course, tonality wise, with this set of IEMs, I think the Astral Acoustics Pulse is what I would go with, because it just pairs better as a pure copper cable. But if you're talking overall enhancement, then yeah, the Vortex Nadia is the way to go. Of course, it's not just saying that because it's the most expensive, but because I actually do hear this one sounding slightly better, you know. Where we're talking marginal differences, again, only when I'm A/B testing I hear the differences. Normally, no, probably not. You're not going to notice it, right? Just on your daily commute, on the way to work. This is something that audiophiles would care about that normal people would not care about at all, right? Normal people are just satisfied with some AirPods in their ear and they're good, right? They're not going to care about some tiny 10% difference in bass or highs or soundstage or width or whatever. But for audiophiles, this kind of being a hobby that people care about the details, yeah, and minor differences, they're willing to pay money for minor differences, then yeah, like the Nadia will give you the best enhancement, soundstage width, blacker background, separation of frequencies, a little bit more detail. Yeah, and then for this particular set of IEMs, then I think the Astral Acoustics Pulse is the best fit for them. But really, you know, if you're talking about overall enhancement, then Nadia is the way to go. So yeah, that's my conclusion about these cables. I think that Vortex, I think why I tried them out in the first place is because people said they are, like, relatively speaking, in the IEM cable world, bang for the buck. I know it's kind of crazy because considering how much they costed, but yeah, relatively speaking, if you were to compare them with like a $2,000 Effect Audio or PW Audio cable, I think this is right up there with those. So if you want to call them all overpriced, sure, but I'm just going to say that Vortex is, relatively speaking, not as overcosted as some other ones out there. That's all I can say. Not to say that this isn't overpriced, because all of these upgrade cables are, but they're less overpriced compared to some of the other ones out there. Like, relatively, they're probably better value. This will give you the sound of like a $2,000 cable, basically. Yeah, so I'm pretty impressed with Vortex Nadia, actually. I think that yeah, and plus the presentation of the cables in the box and everything was pretty good as well. So that's actually, it's a lot more than what Effect Audio gave me. The Effect Audio Sharons, which I reviewed a couple weeks ago, didn't give me that much in the box, and that was a more expensive cable. So yeah, I think this competes very well with the big players in the IEM cable industry now. So yeah, if you guys are looking for, you know, I mean, if you guys have money, first of all, to spend on upgrade cables, don't do that until you find the IEM you like, by the way. So I recommend just finding the IEMs that you like first, and then tuning them afterwards to with cables to kind of extend their performance even more. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like when it comes to buying speakers, right? Like, there's just, yeah, like priorities, you know. Speaker comes first, and then amplifier and DAC and everything comes after. Yeah, IEMs obviously come first, and then cables after, right? It's like once you found your IEM, well, actually, technically, your source, right? Your source should come right after that, because that's very important. In my case, I have fairly expensive $2,000 DAP here, right? The Astral Current SP3000M. Your source comes after that, and then cables will come after all that. It's basically just to further fine-tune the sound of your IEM that you already like. So yeah, when it comes to that, then I think the Vortex Nadia is very good. This is I think the most expensive Vortex cable currently. So all of their cables actually are under 1K, which is, yeah, they're not like going for the super expensive ones. But I do think they actually do punch above their price. Like they compete very well with 2K Effect Audio and PW Audio cables and Brise Audio, you know. So yeah, all those other ones, Beat Audio, whatever you want to have. Those are more expensive ones. I think competes very well with them. So anyways, yeah, I have to give my opinion on the Vortex Nadia. This is probably going to be my go-to IM cable going forward. And I'm not saying this lightly because I do have Effect Audio Chirons, which I think are pretty good, but I think these actually yeah, can even match or exceed those. And it actually looks better, to be honest. Like, I like the appearance of the Vortex better as well, and appearance is actually a factor to consider as well, right? Considering that's what people are going to see when you use your IEM, is the cables as well. So yeah, the appearance does play a factor, and I think the Vortex looks great. So anyways, that's my opinion, guys. Again, you guys might think, oh, cables are just cables, they don't make any difference, but to me, I'm just giving you guys my subjective impressions. Again, I think there is a difference. It's marginal, but there is. It's not zero, just in my opinion. So yeah, I like the Vortex Nadia. So I think that this up-and-coming company has been around since 2018, and I like their packaging a lot, and so far I think that their cables have been well, this is my first experience at a Vortex audio cable, but I would say I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'm not going to say I'm super impressed or anything, because it is fairly expensive still, but again, I'm satisfied with it. That's what I'm going to say. I wasn't disappointed, you know. Like with the Effect Audio Chirons, I guess I was a bit disappointed because I was expecting better for the price, but with this, yeah, I'm satisfied. And that's actually the best I can say about cables, is that I'm never going to say they're a great deal, but certainly this one did make me satisfied. I think that it performs really well. So yeah, and I really like the appearance of it as well, and the packaging and the presentation. That's all part of the experience, you know. So like, yeah, if you guys are looking for a cable around this price range, if you're willing to spend this much for cables and you're looking for around this price range, then the Vortex Nadia is a good one to pick up, in my opinion. Just make sure that you're looking for something, you know, that to fine-tune your IEMs better, right? If you're looking for something to tame the treble, get a copper cable. If you're looking for something to tame the bass, get a silver cable. You know, this is relatively neutral. It won't affect your sound signature that much. Just keep that in mind. But if you have a sound signature you already like from your IEM, you just want to expand the sound quality further by adding the blacker background and, you know, more soundstage width and slightly better detail, then this is the way to do it. Yeah, just add a kind of neutral sounding cable like the Nadias. I think it's pretty good for that. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but I think this is a pretty good upgrade for those of you guys who have an IEM with a sound signature that you already like, but you just want to expand the performance further. It's just with a cable like this that doesn't really change the tonality, but adds better technicalities, like slightly more detailed soundstage width and blacker background. So these are the Effect Audio Chirons that I was talking about. So yeah, you know, this is a $2,000 US cable. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really look like that, right? I mean, just look at it. I mean, it's honestly, like, when I tested the Chirons, of course there's still great cable and everything, you know. I felt like I got more soundstage width out of it, and again, cleaner separation between the frequencies. But to be honest, yeah, for that amount of money I was kind of disappointed. Whereas when it comes to the Vortex Nadias, yeah, I know it's still expensive, but first of all, these look better. Just look at it, right? Which one looks more flashy? The Vortex, right? So first of all, it looks more flashy and looks better, in my opinion. And secondly, not only did I feel like the same amount of of expansion of the soundstage and blacker background and separation of frequencies as a Chiron, but I also found slightly more detail, slightly better detail retrieval out of the Vortex as well. So yeah, like, just my opinion, no subjective listening. So yeah, this one's cheaper. It's less than half the price. So I'm just saying, guys, testing between these two, I found the Vortex Nadia to be the better deal out of these two. Both of them are like leaning neutral. They don't really change their frequencies that much. They only increase the technicals out of it. But yeah, out of these two, I would say the Vortex Nadia is probably the one that gives you better bang for the buck, relatively speaking. Also, not to mention the fact that the Vortex cables, they look a lot more sturdier, right? They're thicker cables, and yeah, compared to the more expensive effect audio cables, they definitely look a bit more durable as well. I've also read online that it performs roughly at least as good or outperforms the Liquid Lynx Venom, the Elitech Euclid, and the Astral Eclipse. So these are all fairly well reviewed cables around the 1K price point, and apparently, yeah, the Nadia outperforms, or at least exceeds or meets the performance of some of those. And yeah, again, this is all my opinion, just subjective listening. I know everyone has different ears, but just giving you guys my own personal subjective listening experiences. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt. But that's it. Thanks for watching.